Hello everyone, hope you are very safe and well wherever you are in the world at this present moment in time. And thank you very, very much for tuning into this session as part of the digitised and online version of the Future of Audio Festival and Conference. And thanks to the guys at MediaTel as well for having me back to present. This session is entitled Using Sound as a Force for Good, Audio's Power in Lockdown and Beyond. And I suppose my hope and aim for this session today is to leave you with lots of ideas and inspiration for how music and sound can be used during this period of time that we find ourselves in, and how we can also take those ideas forward into our lives post-lockdown, if that ever is the case and we're ever allowed back out of our houses again. You currently find me here in the British countryside. I'm in Suffolk in England, enjoying some fresh air, or as much fresh air as one is allowed during this period. And when I haven't been enjoying the fruits of the countryside, I've had a lot of time, as you can imagine, to put into the preparation and planning for this presentation. So I hope you enjoy it. I've got about 20 minutes together. I'm imagining the millions of you behind my webcam on my MacBook right now, and very sorry that we can't all be together in person in a theatre somewhere to enjoy this. But I do believe that if you have any thoughts or comments or suggestions throughout the presentation, you can, or indeed questions as well, you can tweet them to me via Twitter, of course. My handle is at maxdelucia, which is MaxDelucia. Please do send me a tweet if you're watching, just so I'm not lonely and hyper isolated on Twitter, of all places. So I think that's enough of an introduction. We'll get into the presentation. And I just want to start by acknowledging the fact that these are, of course, incredibly testing times for everyone across planet Earth at the moment. But what is really impressive, of course, is that we are all united in a global effort to defeat this virus. We've got brands, businesses, institutions, people across the country, around the world, coming together to help solve this challenge and this crisis that we now find ourselves in. Now, usually at a conference like this, I'd be talking about brand sound. That's what I do every day, but not today. Instead, what I want to focus on is what can we learn from the power of audio to help make a difference in the world right now. And we're going to split this session into three main parts. So the first being the science of sound. What are the ingredients and the facets behind music and sound that make them just so powerful? Second, we're going to look at some ideas, some inspiration of things that are already out there in the world that exemplify the power of sound in really nice ways. And third, we're going to look at how we can use sound during this period of lockdown and take that into our lives beyond this very strange time. First, I just want to do a proper introduction to myself. As you probably guessed from my Twitter handle, my name is Max Delucia. I am the DL in the name of the specialist sonic branding agency DLMDD. You can see many of the other characters at the agency before you here, and everything that we do as a business is about building brands through sound. I'd also just like to introduce a little bit more formally the other co-founders of the business as well. We've got Jeremy Patterson on my left-hand side, the chap in the jacket. To the right of me in the white shirt is Sasha Darroch Davies, and to the right of Sasha is Greg Moore. When we set the agency up, the business up, we kind of had a philosophy at heart, which I just wanted to share with you, which is that music and sound bring us together. They connect and they inspire us. They are a universal language that transcend people, cultures, and geographies across planet Earth. And it just strikes me that that belief seems pretty fitting for a moment like this. So first, let's take a look at some of the ingredients behind audio. We're going to look at the science of sound. So you may or may not know that sound travels incredibly fast, exemplified by this sonic boom here. We register and identify a sound in just 0.025 seconds, which is 10 times faster than that of how we recognize visual stimulus or stimuli. When it reaches us, it has a really profound effect on us. So it fires off every part of our pleasure and our reward systems, which is something that only love, food, and drugs can do. So it's incredibly powerful in that regard. What that does is it gives us a healthy dose of dopamine, and that means we feel something. So that's very simply why music equals emotion, why we feel something when we listen to music and sound. Of course, illustrated in a lovely way here by the cast of Friends. So much so, of course, that I probably don't need to tell you who the advertiser is here, and I probably don't even need to play the film either, and I won't. An advertiser that uses music very emotionally in their comms to drive sales. But impressively, music goes much further than just emotion alone. It's an incredible learning tool too. So think of nursery rhymes or songs that you haven't heard of in ages. You learn them very fast and they can stay with you forever. And just to exemplify that, there's this fantastic film here, which I love, and I just thought would be fantastic to play. Do go and have a Google and a YouTube if you enjoy it, to the Song a Minute Man if you haven't done so before. It's the chap on the left is the son of the chap on the right who's experiencing and going through suffering from Alzheimer's. And they do something of a kind of carpool karaoke together, and sort of go back to songs, from childhood and beyond. And this is just a lovely exemplification of how music gets into our lives and can stay with us forever. So, all being well, here you go.
Your love has given me wings. Your love keep me clear. Reaching and starry us. No wonder my happy heart sings. Your love has given me wings. Your love has given me wings.
Fantastic film. I absolutely love that. And as I said, a really brilliant exemplification of how music gets into our lives and stays with us forever. Instant recall is one of music and sound's very, very special gifts to us. And we get there through repetition. So simply put, the more we hear something, the more it ingrains itself in our minds. This was evidenced in a 2010 study by the French National Centre for Scientific Research. And their study showed that sound repetition allows us to memorize information in very quick, effective, and durable ways. You can check that study out if you want. The source is there. So the more we experience a certain sound or combination of sounds, the better our recall. And so we kind of have three ingredients at play here. We've got music's ability to deliver us emotion, the ability to learn, and also recall information very, very quickly. And those three ingredients remind me of three really important messages of this moment in time. And they're these: stay at home, protect the NHS, and save lives. Something we've seen day in, day out for the last countless number of weeks. But we've still got people up and down the country, in the UK at least, flouting those rules. The papers, the press have been littered with examples of it. And so we need that message to resonate even harder. And the question I'd like to pose to you today is, why not reinforce it through sound? We know and have seen over the last couple of minutes just how powerful sound can be in that regard. In branding, in my world, we'd call that a mnemonic or an audio signature. And our clients, marketeers, will spend a lot of money and a lot of time finding their sound. But in this instance, there is no time and there is no money. You just need cold, hard impact. And so I'd just like to play you this as an idea. very powerful, very impactful, very visceral. And I was just thinking about this the other day, and then something came up on my LinkedIn feed, which I thought was great, and I thought I'd share with you as part of this presentation, which is been created by a number of people across the advertising industry that brings together that idea with the 3 messages that we're talking about in this context. And so I just thought I'd play you this. Thank you to Nick Bell for sharing that with me. Very powerful. That sound makes that message resonate even harder. And just as a thought, I'd like to pose that to you today and take that away from this session. Could that sound married with that message have an even greater impact on people up and down this country and around the world? Moving on to some slightly lighter and more enjoyable things to watch. I'm going to pick out just some things that are out there in the world at the moment that I think beautifully exemplify the power of sound at this moment in time. The first almost needs no introduction, really. It's just a lovely thing. It's the Breathe Harmony NHS Choir, and this put a smile on my face, and I'm sure it'll put a smile on yours. Lovely film, that. Just amazing, the kind of creativity that's happening at the moment. My kind of social media feeds are full of these amazing recordings that people are putting together during this time, and that's just a lovely film there. Choir performance in a virtual setting. How can we not just give a nod to the amazing clapping for the NHS on a weekly basis? Sound's ability to be able to travel throughout the streets around us, sort of circumnavigating any geographical challenges, and an amazing show of sort of national unity. Just let this play a little bit more. Incredibly powerful and very moving on a weekly basis, that. And then, as you may have guessed from my surname, although my complexion doesn't quite suggest it, I do have Italian heritage in my family, and I just think if you haven't seen this, this is so Italian and so fantastic. Here you go. Fantastic. I'll move on purely because otherwise I'll run out of time and then I'll get cut off, and that'll be a real shame. The last thing I want to show you, just on a kind of ideas level, is a little project that I've been working on myself over the last couple of weeks, and the agency has done as well. Real team effort's gone into it, which is fantastic, which is entitled Lockdown, bit of a music experiment. Started with a WhatsApp message to a Grammy Award winning musician called David Rossi, who's done loads of stuff with Coldplay and Goldfrapp and Ed Sheeran and U2 and endless other amazing acts. And David put down 15 seconds of a musical idea, and it's travelled all over the world over the course of the last couple of weeks, visiting loads of different musicians from loads of different sort of genres and styles and approaches. And the film probably does it better justice, and it's out on Wednesday, so it will be out yesterday, I think, when you're watching this. So go and check it out. Hopefully there'll be some press about it and all that kind of stuff. Here you go. This is a bit of the Lockdown project that I've been working on.
What I got here, a book of matches and a rotary phone with no dial tone. The record player scratches my memories and patches. I need the sound of your voice to show the way back home.
And in the interest of time, I'm going to leave that as a little preview for you to go and check out. Just search on YouTube for Lockdown Music Experiment. You'll be able to find it, only because I'm very conscious that I've only got a couple of minutes left of this presentation. But a lovely way of bringing together amazing musicians across the world. We're really impressed with where it's gone. We didn't know where it was going to end up after day one, and it sounds like a really cohesive, beautiful, lovely thing with some incredible artists who've been a part of it. So thank you to all those guys, and I hope you enjoy it. Please do go and check it out. I'll race through because I've got only a couple of minutes left on the third point for this session, which is using sound in lockdown and beyond. What we focused on so far really is music and sound, societal and social benefits. But I just wanted to sort of finish with just talking about the personal benefits that it brings to us as well. Life feels a little bit like this at the moment, and I think it's really important that we focus on our mental health and all that sort of stuff. And there was a 2019 study around World Mental Health Day that very simply tells us that music boosts our well-being. 83% of the people involved in the study said that it helps them to relax. 76% said that it made them feel better when they were feeling down. And 74% said that their favourite album was a source of comfort. And I think that's a nice point just to touch on, is that there is the power of the album in this kind of streaming era. Do get into the albums that you listen to, because they offer something a little bit different. And Dr. Julia Jones here tells us that as part of that study. She says the album offers a perfect recipe for delivering the cocktail of neurochemical and physiological benefits, while also ensuring we enjoy an extended break. An experience with a built-in stopwatch, so there's no need for clock watching. We can just sit back and enjoy the effects. And she goes on to say that the album, if I can read this over my head, is a particularly effective intervention at night when, I'm guessing that says, we're approaching bedtime. Sleep has been identified as an absolutely critical factor in well-being, and listening to a low-tempo, relaxing album can help us get into sleep mode and increase the likelihood of a solid 8 hours of rest and recovery. For that reason alone, we should all be switching off the TV and listening to an album before bed every night. So I just thought that's something quite nice to share with you. So if I've timed this right, and it looks like I have, I'm bang on almost 20 minutes now. The aim for this session was really to fuel you with lots of ideas for what music and sound can do. Obviously, whilst the likes of Glastonbury and festivals and live events aren't happening at the moment, music and sound still have a very powerful role to play in our lives. And as the world adapts and the music world adapts, I just wanted to leave you with one final thought, and that is that whoever you are, wherever you are, use sound as a force for good, not just in lockdown, but beyond too. Thank you very much. You can get in touch with me if you'd like, of course on Twitter, as we've said, and also via the DLMDD website, which is dlmdd.com. Thank you for watching. Thank you to MediaTel for having us, and hope you enjoy the rest of your day.